Hi, this is Natalie Lander, voice of Kinsey, Tara Branford, Stargirl, and many others. You are listening to a W2Mnet podcast. You can visit W2Mnet.com for other podcasts about entertainment, video games, sports, and wrestling. You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Video Games to the Max. This is episode 206, and of course I am your host, Sean Garmer, and here with me as always, Mr. Marc Morrison.
Howdy.
And of course we are also in partnership with Last Word Radio, so thanks to them for always helping us out there as well. And if this is your first time or your I don't know how many time listening to us, thank you. We appreciate that. And well, depending on when you're listening to us, either the Game Awards haven't happened yet, this is basically coming out the day of, or we already know who won, and you can go all the way to the end and see if we were wrong or not. But we are going to do that kind of at the end so that anybody listening afterwards, if you are kind of already watched it or whatever, don't really care about predictions, you can go on and not have to listen to that part. But hey, there's a lot going on. It's December. There is some Game of the Years already out there. IGN has theirs out there, a few others. But not just that, there's a lot of news. So we're going to start there and then talk about some games we've been playing. Both of us have kind of been playing some recent ones along with others that we talked about last week. Alright, so, well, why don't we just start with the Sony State of Play, which is the last one for 2019, as we're pretty much on the eve of that, and Nintendo had an Indies thing. We won't go totally in depth on that. We'll just talk about some games we liked and whatnot. But State of Play, the probably biggest thing coming out of that is Resident Evil 3 got an actual trailer after a week of cover art being leaked and on the PSN store of all things.
No, that was the Xbox store. That's when they're the ones who leaked it.
I thought they said it was the PSN store, not in the US, but like in another country, I think.
No, maybe. I saw Xbox, but I mean, either or, it doesn't matter.
They did a good job of kind of teasing to make you think it was Project Resistance, like, which is I think a 4 versus 1 thing that they're also bringing in free.
Because that always works.
And then they sort of tricked you to... It's the single player to that, which is Resident Evil 3 Remake. It's coming out April 3rd, 2020. It looks really good.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like Resident Evil 2 just out in the city, or, a lot more varied environments, which is always nice.
Well, it's the same engine, and there is an extra team that's working on it, M2, which they almost got Shinji Mikami to come back for this, but he decided to stay over there working at Tango Works, doing that thing for Bethesda, the Ghost Tokyo, or...
Yeah.
That's the thing he was doing. So, the funny thing is apparently this was supposed to come together with Resident Evil 2, and because when RE2 got delayed, they kind of just said, you know what, let's just split it up and have them come out separate. And you know what, I think it'd be kind of weird if they came together now, because I don't think Resident Evil 3 would get the same hype that 2 got coming out by itself.
I hope that if you have both of them together on the same platform, you can unlock Knuckles to play with.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Especially since 3 has, they kind of, it goes along with 2's story in a way.
Yeah, because it bookend, or is a prequel to 2 and an after of 2 as well. So.
Yeah, so I go ahead.
Go on.
Well, I was saying it's kind of, you can kind of understand why they would try to have them come out together, but I kind of feel like it would kind of get lost in the shuffle if you had them both. You'd have people loving RE2 and then I don't know.
Well, RE3 doesn't quite have the same reception or reverence that RE2 did. For one, I'm honestly glad they changed Jill's stupid outfit. I thought that her initial outfit was terrible.
Well, it was such a 90s outfit, so I think it makes more sense.
It was dumb because it was basically a tube top and a mini skirt, and it's like,
right.
That's the outfit you want to wear in a zombie apocalypse, as opposed to jeans and something covering your arms.
Oh, I totally agree. Yeah, it makes no sense. But that happened a lot in those days with games. You have to make the girl sort of look sexy, even though she shouldn't at all in this game. But
what did Jill just wake up from did the zombie virus happen when Jill was out at the club? What is going on?
Yeah. Pretty much. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it should be good. I don't remember RE3 quite as vividly as RE2. I remember Nemesis chasing you around and
right.
The part where you play as I think Carlos to cure Jill and crap like that. But yeah, I hope it's a more. The problem with the big problem with RE3 at the time was you had this idea for a big city to explore. And only 8 buildings you could really interact with.
Yeah, it seems like they did a lot more to this game than they did RE2.
Yeah, I think RE2 was a better designed game initially, so they didn't have that much to work with, or to improve upon. But I think RE3 might have had some more problems out of the gate. So they're let's fix some of this crap before we release this thing.
Do you think if, probably, especially with how RE2 is received, getting Game of the Year nominations and all that stuff, if RE3 does well, which you would expect it would, you think that they keep on this road? And what really could they remake next, I guess, from the mainline?
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't think you could do anything more from the mainline. Because RE4 technically is already out on modern consoles. It's just the old port, but still.
They could do Code Veronica since people are...
That's what I was going to say. That's the one exception. Is that's not a numbered game, but it's still a... I don't know if it's part of the main series or how they consider it.
Well, it has... Claire's involved, right?
No, it's... Oh, yeah, Claire and Chris, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd consider it part of the main franchise or main number. It doesn't have a number attached to it, but you can call it Resident Evil.
They remastered the Dreamcast version, and that's there on PS4 if you want it. But it's not the same as it getting remade or.
Yeah, well, that's also a much dodgier game. At the time when that game came out, it was great, but it's times have changed. You have something called a second analog stick for camera control.
Right.
So.
It could serve as another game they could remake. After that, I don't know really what to do. I think you have to go back on 8.
Now, people really want a Dino Crisis game, remake, and it's that game wasn't great.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be great now because the thing is, zombies are slow, so you have time to aim at them.
Mm-hmm.
Dinos, the raptor and crap like that is gonna be really quick, or that's the perceived speed of it. So it's trying to aim at this thing. It's a good luck.
Well, people do love their hard games nowadays, so
yeah.
Maybe you put that in there and you vary some of the difficulty, and people love it just the same. But sometimes nostalgia also gives you rose-tinted glasses and you forget why it's you don't have any more Dino Crisis games either.
Yeah, that third one was terrible. Because they introduced like a jetpack, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah, for sure. So they also gave an official release date for Dreams, which is Valentine's 2020, February 14th. So that's cool that Dreams is going to be out of beta and everything. I'll be looking forward to playing the single player, which was still really interesting when I read about it in Game Informer. I'm not a creative person, so I'll be playing other people's levels. I won't be creating any myself, but some of the stuff that I've seen people do is pretty insane, and that's just with it being in beta.
Yeah, I played that beta when it came out, like the open beta before you had to pay for it. It was fun.
Untitled Goose Game comes out in a week or in a few days, depending on when you hear this. A PS4 and Xbox One, but obviously it's a Sony thing, so they're going to talk about it from their perspective. Spellbreak is a new battle royale game which has like some anime tinge to it with roleplay and magic and stuff. It looked okay.
I'm really done with battle royale games.
Yeah, I don't know why they felt the need to put one in the new Modern Warfare.
They put one in they're releasing one today for Forza Motorsport 4, or Forza Horizon 4, sorry.
Oh, God.
And it's like, no, I'm okay. Like, please don't do that.
Yeah, for every Apex Legends, you get 20 other battle royales that shouldn't exist.
You get that Cliff Blazinski one that came out like really quick and bombed horribly.
Oh God, that thing was awful. It made him like think about really hard not wanting to make other games after that.
Radical Heights, that's it. It's like,
yep.
All right.
Are you excited about the new Predator game at all?
Not at all, because there's only been one good Predator game ever, and it was strangely on the Jaguar.
I thought the Super Nintendo one was decent for that time period, I guess.
It keep trying, like, it should be a good idea. I mean, look at that Tomb Raider game. Just
right.
Have that with more sci-fi weapons, but they always like fail at it because they always like look at it as some weird cash grab. It's like, no, you have to put in some effort here. Like same with Aliens. Like once they actually put in effort in an Aliens game, you get Alien Isolation, which is great from what I've heard.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently on the Switch, it looks really good.
Yeah, they cared. Like, it wasn't fucking Alien Colonial Marines.
Well, you don't have to do too much to beat that game.
Yeah.
To beat what that game did. Babylon's Fall looked interesting. Of course, it's the next Square and Platinum Games mix-up. Looked like it sort of had more of a Dark Souls tinge to it than Nier, but still looked pretty cool.
Yeah. Should be interesting. I mean, Platinum's always... I mean, they oscillate between great and bad, but the great side seems to be winning out lately, so...
Yeah, did you see the Vanquish and
Bayonetta
1 getting remastered again?
Yeah, I really want that physical version because it comes in that nice steelbook.
Yeah, that looks cool.
I mean, I already have, I think, both on PC, but... why not? And it's only $40, which is nice.
I have 1 and 2 on Switch, so I don't necessarily need Bayonetta 1.
I actually have that too. Yeah.
But Vanquish is always cool to have.
Yeah.
Then you had the Paper Beast game, which this is kind of where the state of play hit a lull because it felt like it was on it for a little bit too long. It looks fine. It's VR, so that is what it is. That puzzle game, Superliminal, is apparently okay.
I've heard that's pretty good on.
Yeah.
I think it's on Steam already, and it's like weird but good.
And of course, the other big thing, which is why the trailer was quickly pulled as soon as they figured out it got showed up on YouTube, the Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC. Remind showed up on the State of Play as well, confirming the release date that was already in that trailer, January 23rd. So basically, almost a year apart, you get to finish Kingdom Hearts 3, because this is basically what this is. You're getting to see all the other perspectives of that final 3 hours of the game, which should have been in the original game to begin with, but...
Don't worry, this is the time where it's really going to make sense for people.
I think seeing those other perspectives does help it make sense, though.
I don't, because it's been a year. So, like, how much do you remember from that fucking story?
I mean, if you're a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, you probably played that game, I don't know, even though the game was what it was.
Well, I say that, I like the game, I just think the story was bad. Like, it's just so inconsequential. It's like, alright, all you have to do is go to a new world, battle.
Well, that's the thing, though, is like, that entire series is like that. Like, those Disney worlds don't necessarily matter that much to the story itself, but you have, I mean, this one just this one just felt like they really didn't matter. Like, there was they found an interesting way to tie in the main story in 1 and 2 much better into those worlds than 3, where it felt like you could just from the beginning, you could fast forward to like the end of each world where you saw the organization dude show up.
Well, there's also too many of those guys running around too.
That too. Fast forward to whenever the organization had something to say on their own little cutscene, and then go to the end, and there's your entire game. You didn't need to do any of that Disney stuff at all. I mean, but that's also the charm of it, is that's what you're doing, is mixing that in, even though it doesn't always make sense. So, we'll see how much of that. I mean, it's cool that you're finally getting to play with Aqua and Kairi and all that, but...
Well, it's just like that Final Fantasy 15, like they didn't include the female characters at all until the DLC.
Yep.
But they canceled that DLC for 15, so it's like... Oops.
Yeah, exactly, yep. You didn't even get it would have been, I think, more prudent that they do the Lena Freya one before they did the Arden one, but that's neither here nor there at this point.
Who cared about him? Like,
I liked him as a character. I didn't care about him.
Well, it's just like the first, it's just like the Seymour thing from Final Fantasy X. It's like, all right, the second this dude's on camera, or shows up, it's like, all right, that's a bad guy. Like, he has the most awkward and intricate looking hair. So, yep.
Yep, that's true. Why not? I do think it's cool on Microsoft saying that they're finally getting all the Kingdom Hearts games after all this time, and all the Final Fantasy games on Game Pass. So,
well, it seems, do you see that Final Fantasy 15, or that 7 remake is locked up on PS4 till 2021?
That doesn't surprise me at all. How many games have we seen now get these year exclusive things? So does that mean every single time one of these parts comes out, it has a year exclusive, or is it just the first one?
I imagine it's the first one, because I imagine the second one won't be on PS4.
Yeah. I wonder if they're going to try to make it still work on PS4.
I imagine they would. I imagine it probably will get released, but at that point, the PS5 will be out. And if it's not backward compatible, they will at least make it go like, okay, if you have the PS4 version, give us $10 more, and we'll release you can have the PS5 version.
Right.
Like, they did that a few times for the PS4 and Xbox One. Like, it was like Battlefield 4 did that, and a few other games did that. So.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how many of those, because it seems like they're kind of shying away from that. At least Sony is going into whenever the PS5 launches, that they're not going to make sure that a lot of their big games work cross-platform for that first year. That basically it's 2021, because those consoles aren't coming out to almost the end of 2020. So
yeah,
we'll see how that goes. We still need to know prices and all that stuff for these consoles. We need official reveals, to be honest, as well, which I'm assuming that's what E3 is going to be all about. But they're also big enough to have their own shows, and we've seen both of them do that in the past. So,
well, as long as Microsoft gets Elijah Wood back, then everything will be all right.
Yeah. We'll have a lot more to say on Xbox in a little bit, but they also showed off Ghost of Tsushima, which basically you didn't see much because you're going to get the whole trailer at the Game Awards, which, like I said, Game Awards may have already happened. You may have already seen the trailer. We are going to have a Game Awards post show, so we'll have another show that you'll get on Friday. I'll say Friday morning for sure, because last time the damn thing didn't end till like almost midnight.
Yeah.
So I would expect almost the same thing if it's not starting till 9 o'clock Eastern time. That is. So yeah, I felt like this was a good state of play. I think it maybe would have been better if you start and end with your big guns and then kind of have the other stuff in the middle.
I think you really have to kind of do like a one big game, one small game, one big game, one small game, because you don't want to have people tune out like halfway through it.
Yeah, I mean, I will say a lot of this stuff is varied because, I don't think the same people that care about Spellbreak care about Predator, care about Babylon's Fall, all that stuff. So I think they're getting the pacing down better on these. I'm still waiting for and if it hadn't been leaked, I think Resident Evil 3 would have been the biggest reveal on one of these things.
Yeah.
So far, So that would have been cool for State of Play to finally have one of those where you go, okay, this is why I want to tune in. Wow, we got that on here.
Yeah. Well, they announced like a Spider-Man 2 trailer or a Spider-Man 2 announcement.
Yeah, that too possibly could happen. You never know. All right, so Nintendo also just to get these things. Well, you know what? Let's finish the Sony news and then we'll move it along. So this is good, both good and bad, I guess, for Sony, because now Sony gets a little bit of that Microsoft pie that Microsoft has with Minecraft, where MLB The Show gets extended by Major League Baseball. They've been around, Sony San Diego's been making MLB The Show since 2006. So it's been 13 years, 14 when the new one comes out in March, which will be the last exclusive game. So to have this one game for this one company come out for that long, and then get a multi-year extension is pretty great on their end. I think Major League Baseball is not stupid. They realize and see that what Madden and FIFA and NBA 2K and all these other sports franchises get for being multi-platform. And so shortly after this this little press release came out, both Phil Spencer and Nintendo America's Twitter retweeted something or said something to the effect that lets you know that they're going to be on Xbox and Nintendo as well. Nothing about PC, which is interesting.
That's because like sports games and PC don't mix at all anymore. No one cares.
Yeah, that's true. But it is cool that if, say, they could make it cross-save between PS4, Xbox, and Nintendo, which we finally saw Minecraft go cross-play with PS4, so now they can be played with all three the new thing.
It's cool, but it's like it's weird that it's put upon Sony to do this, because it's like the MLB contract is always like EA can't make a multi-platform baseball game. But
no, this isn't like. Well, yeah, nobody wanted to though.
I think the thing is there's no demand for it really. I mean, okay, there might be like 10 Xbox players going like, "Oh, I really like baseball," but too bad there's no baseball game.
But that would be the same thing as Sony could have. One of the first parties could have decided to make a NFL game, but nobody did that either.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Because all the spin-off NFL games were like terrible.
Well, it's not just.
Or,
I mean, yeah,
that's the thing.
It's just it takes a lot to do that, and then that's a team that you have to dedicate to. That's all they do. They can't make anything else. I mean, and we're seeing how well that's going for Visual Concepts. They already have to deal with NBA 2K. Now they got to deal with WWE, and that thing's going down the tubes. And
what are you talking about, man? 2K20 got like the best reviews ever.
No, I think just this is smart by Major League Baseball. Just you got a great game. Sony San Diego can keep making it, which is great for that studio, great for the people working there. They know that they've got a job for who knows how long this keeps going on. And, now you can put it on Xbox and Nintendo and see the profits soar, and everybody wins because Sony gets a cut of that. So, hey, I don't think if you left it up to Sony, they would really want to do this, but...
Oh, no.
Hey.
Not at all. But, like I said, I just don't... I mean, I see why MLB wants it to happen. I just don't see, like, a ton of demand for it. I mean, that's kind of the biggest thing.
Maybe not Xbox, but I think anybody... If they can make it cross-save...
But also, the bigger problem is, like, okay, they can make the Xbox version probably pretty easily. But imagine how gnarly that Switch version is going to look. Well,
they already deal with that with FIFA and NBA 2K.
FIFA stripped onto hell compared to the
Wow, people are buying it though, or they wouldn't be making it. So, I mean, that's the thing is, that whole concept of if you put it on the Switch, people will buy it is still something that's happening right now. And yes, maybe by 2021, the Switch is not the darling it is anymore because now you're talking about battling against PS5 and whatever Project Scarlet's going to be called. So that might be a bigger issue.
Hurdle? Yeah.
Yeah, but I still think the Switch with having only Nintendo stuff is still going to do decently well. I mean, look at how much the portable, the 3DS was still kicking butt for a while.
Yeah.
Also, I guess since we're on to completely finish Sony out here, Sony. I mean, not that we really needed anybody to confirm this because it seems like it's pretty evident by the fact that we have heard nothing of any kind of successor to the Vita. President and CEO of SIE, Jim Ryan, basically came out and said there are no more plans for any kind of PlayStation handheld in the future, if possibly ever. They are totally in the business of home consoles, and that's where they're at.
This wasn't a huge surprise because it was like, they should have said that after the PSP came out. It's like, well, this didn't do well. Like,
I mean, the Vita did well. It's just there was 2 SKUs. The memory cards were overpriced.
The memory card is probably actually the biggest problem. It was like I actually do have a Vita, and it has I think an 8 GB memory card. It's like, well, I can't afford more because it's like it's proprietary garbage. Like if I could get that expensive one, I would, but or even like a bigger one.
Right, they're not really making them anymore, so
yeah, you have to buy like used or some
that drives up the price.
Yeah.
and the AAA gains were not necessarily coming to the system.
No, it's all like Persona 4, Golden, and a bunch of like important indie stuff.
Yeah, the Japanese developers were
kind of powering the system, if anything.
Yeah, and it was a great place to play indies because you could take it with you, and remote play when it worked. But didn't always work for everybody.
Right. I mean, that was one problem. But then, it was just kind of a weird system. Like, you can see what they were trying to do, and it might have been like a little too ahead of its time. The fact like they made some stumbling blocks with the memory card issue and stuff like that. Like, that doesn't help.
No, certainly not. Sony was way too arrogant about that. Instead of saying
they were arrogant, and it's like they had no right to be because like the PSP didn't do well. Like what are you?
I mean, it did
about?
well enough for them to make a Vita. I mean,
what?
I mean, like, okay, it was. I think. Well, it got popular once it got hacked, right? Is that what happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, people were buying it for a reason or another, and I think Sony wasn't necessarily looking into why. They just saw, this thing's still selling after so many years. That must mean they want another one. And it was a good idea in theory, but again, when you don't have the third party, like Nintendo realized for a long time, when you don't have third party support, and you yourself got to cripple the system, you're not helping.
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah. Also, Persona 5 Royal is coming out March 31st, 2020, as if we need another freaking game coming out in the spring at this point.
That's the one game, like, the second they announced that, I think the official release date, I pre-ordered, like, the expensive version, and I sent Jens a link to pre-order the expensive version, and he was like, yep, needed that, thanks.
I thought you were not going to get this.
Oh, no, I'm totally getting this.
Oh.
I mean, I'm getting that stupid expensive one with the Joker mask and all that other crap.
Yes, the Phantom Thieves edition for $90. Which includes the Joker mask with a stand, a collector's box, art book, soundtrack. I mean, the soundtrack by itself is worth all kinds of money.
I don't know how complete that soundtrack is going to be, because, I mean, those games have a lot of music. Like, I think it's just like it might just be like the royal new music.
Right.
Because I think like the Persona 5 soundtrack is at least 2 or 3 CDs by itself.
Yeah, definitely. Well, didn't you get that last time though?
I guess like only a subsection of the music. It's not all of it, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
Because I think Jens has the full soundtrack, and it's like 2 CDs. Because he like bought it from PlayAsia or wherever.
I might just get the regular launch edition. I'm not sure. I really wanted it to come to Switch, so I'd just be able to take it with me. But
well, I mean, that's the same issue. It's like that. I think they said they're designing it for the PS4 hardware, so that's why.
Oh, I know.
It looks better for one.
Yeah.
But, I mean, at least that Scramble game is coming to Switch. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean. One of them has the Kasumi costume bundle, which is $15 by itself, so you get $5 off that.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of like digital crap, which I'm not thrilled about.
Right, exactly. There's a battle bundle, and then the DLC bundle almost costs the same as the game if you buy it by itself.
Yeah.
So if you buy this Ultimate Edition, you get $20 off.
Right.
That DLC bundle, so.
It's funny that Catherine has a bunch of DLC in it, including like DLC for Persona 5.
Mm-hmm.
You can like dress up as Joker, and it even has voice acting from Persona 5 voice actors.
Right.
And it's like, all right, that's cool, but how come the multiplayer's never worked right? I might be a little more concerned about that than selling you a bunch of costumes.
They're always, how this is about the costumes and the DLC. Yeah. They're all about that. I mean,
as opposed to functioning game.
that's what they do. What is the thing you're like most excited about with 5R? Is it the new character or the
That new dungeon looks, not dungeon, but like the new social space looks really interesting.
There's a new area as well, new town.
Well, it's like a new like evening hotspot, but I mean, not that, but there's like a Mementos like social area now, where they like looks like a bunch of like hacked in stuff like put together, which looks really interesting. And then you can like customize it and change like the appearance and what's going on. But yeah, the biggest thing is I looked at the trophy list and it's all very doable, at least with 2 runs. So it's not like that Persona 5. I need to play that fucking game 4 times to play it and get all the trophies.
Hey, there you go. Trophy hunting is still alive and well.
At least with certain, at least with games I care about.
Right. So hopping over to a little bit of Nintendo here. There was more news. We're not going to talk about a heck ton of it because, there's other things to do in this show. But, so Nintendo had their Indie World, basically their final direct of the year, which features the Nindies. Some of them were exclusive to the Switch, some of them are not. Some of them are coming out way into 2020, and some of them are coming out. Some of them are out already, and some of them are out in the mid 2020s. So, probably one of my favorite things because I loved Golf Story when it was. I pushed for it to be in our top 25 in 2017. Now they come out with Sports Story, which is coming out mid-2020, and it features 10 different sports, because it's a sports decathlon. And there's cricket, and racquetball, and soccer, and fishing, and tennis, and baseball. I mean, it just looks freaking awesome, and like there's way more to do. The writing was already great, so yeah, I mean, sign me up day one for this thing.
Yeah, looks pretty good. I never played Golf Story, but I always wanted it. Like, that's one of the games I always wanted to get for the Switch.
I know you're probably excited for Axiom Verge 2, which is still only being made by Tom Happ by himself, and comes out fall of 2020.
Yeah, I didn't find if that was just a Switch exclusive, or if it's going to be on everything.
I think it'll probably start on Switch and then go on to other things, like a lot of these things do. Because a lot of indies are now only coming out on PC and Switch, and they move on depending on how successful they are.
I mean, I'd probably prefer to play it on PC personally, but that's just me.
It'll probably come to PC, I'm sure.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be sort of like a prequel, actually.
I have no idea. I looked at the trailer, and it looks a lot more outdoorsy and bright.
Well, the press release from Nintendo says it'll explore the origins of Axiom Verge. So,
okay. I mean, yeah, that was a pretty good game. So, I had the greatest story, but it was a great game to play, and this one looked pretty interesting because it looked like it had a lot more melee combat. So, sure.
I want to mention that Super Mash is actually already out on PC. It's coming in May to the Switch. So it's a really cool game where you get to basically, you choose 2 genres and then it mashes them together and you get to play the game that results from that. Yeah. And some of them looked really fun. So I'm down for that.
Sure.
Any other ones that you were really interested in?
Not really. The Axiom Verge one is the biggest one for me, at least.
Streets of Rage 4, obviously, always going to be interested in that.
But they've never done any Game Pass like Streets of Rage 2. They've always fucked up with. So
yeah, that's true. Gleam White also looks really neat. It's from the same studio that did Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. So
yeah, That's a good game. So
might give that one a shot too. And Liberated looks interesting because it's like a visual novel, but also has like action game stuff in it, which is, and also there's the feels like it's a total ripoff of Overcooked Bacon Switch. So we'll see how that goes. There was other stuff in there. You can go look it up. We're not going to talk about everything because, but there were some interesting ones we didn't mention as well. So, like I will say, Boyfriend Dungeon was probably the most crazy one. It's a dungeon crawler, but your boyfriends are the the weapons you pick up, and then you date them when you're not in the dungeons. Okay.
Just like my life.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Of course, don't really need to talk about the Switch having great sales since they're the main console that's out there and doing things. But another, I guess you'd say, big thing, it's like perhaps the biggest update they've done to Super Mario Maker 2 since it released, because, I mean, I don't really consider that multiplayer stuff a big deal. But...
Well, that multiplayer stuff should have been in the game originally, even though it's bad.
I agree. I totally agree. So they've added Legend of Zelda stuff to Mario Maker 2. You being the person that not only reviewed it, but you're the one that has it out of the two of us. Does it make you want to go back and play?
It looks interesting, because you have different powers. You have a bomb, you have the bow and arrow, and I think you have like something else as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks fascinating. I mean, I'll give it a shot if I can find some good levels. I really fell off hard on that game, though. Like, I think playing levels are still fine, but like making it is just terrible. I thought, because I could not figure out that interface was just bad on both like touch and with the controller.
Yeah, he has the Pegasus boots too, I think.
Also. Yeah, for like dashing. Yeah.
So I've seen. I saw some on Twitter of people putting out some levels or whatever, and it looked really neat of how he can just take out enemies and all that stuff. But like you, I would probably be more interested in playing a few levels somebody else made. I don't know that I would want to do that. That's also what I heard a lot, is people just falling off that, and that it didn't have the same sort of community around it that the first one had. Which
it didn't have the same staying power. It didn't have quite as many like secrets or like cool. Like the first one had all that amiibo crap, which was just cosmetic, but it was still cool looking. Like this one, right? That. The interface is not good.
Which is weird. Of like, why wouldn't you put that back in again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it had other plans for amiibos that fell through.
Perhaps, yeah.
I doubt it.
I don't know. Sometimes Nintendo doesn't always do the thing that you think they should.
Yeah. Exactly.
Moving over to the other number of the big three, Microsoft. Microsoft got into some basically, okay, this happened because Phil Spencer was on a stream. He mentioned Control coming to Game Pass. The reason why Remedy came out and was like, no, it's not happening, is because basically Phil Spencer basically told everybody, yeah, you don't need to go try to buy Control with like 3 weeks left in December for Christmas or anything. It's coming to Game Pass. Let's kill the sales right now. It probably is coming in January, to be honest. But I felt bad for the Remedy folks having to like save their sales in the most important season that there is right now.
I really think I'm really surprised because Microsoft went on that big studio buying spree, like around E3 or whatever. I'm surprised they didn't pick up Remedy, or I'm really surprised like Sony has picked up Remedy.
I think Remedy wants to be independent. So
I mean, I'm sure they do, but if Sony was like, "We'll buy you for $50 million," I'd be like, "All right."
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Microsoft probably went to Remedy and tried, and they were like, yeah, we're not doing that again.
I think they did, but I don't think Microsoft treated them that well because they made that Quantum Break game. That's like, yep, that, no.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that all the stuff that happened with Alan Wake and Quantum Break and all that stuff has made them be like, yeah, we don't want to be owned by someone again.
Yeah, so, but I think the danger in that is like if they do make another bad game, or like one or two bad games, that it can have serious problems.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they would. I mean, if their lives depend on it, then perhaps we're talking about a different thing. But I think while they can, deal with it, yeah, and because you don't see that many like double A's anymore or whatever. It's either your studio got bought by someone and that's how it's existing, or you're an indie. There's usually not a lot of in the middle, Yeah. Speaking of not really being much around anymore, you're talking about rental stores, and although I still see people going in, I do it myself. Go in and rent movies from Redbox. Games, I do not see people do much at all. It is a nice way to try games if you don't want to go get GameFly and deal with all that stuff. Also, you have to kind of beat the system to get any of the new games. Whereas Redbox, if nobody around you really goes to your local Redbox and there's new games in it all the time, it was a nice way to play your Call of Duty or your sports game or whatever, Death Stranding, and yeah.
I was gonna say that's the problem. So the Redboxes around me are terrible. They like 4 years ago, they would sell games, which was great because you could get. I got like a 3 or 4 really cheap PS4, and even I bought like an Xbox One game. I think I bought Halo 5 from a Redbox because it was like $5. I'm like, all right, this is good. But they stopped selling games, at least the ones around me, like years ago, really. And I even asked Redbox, and they were like, well, what do you mean? Like, we still sell games? And I'm like, check the ones by me. Or, here's my zip code. And they were like, oh, you're right. And then the inventory got terrible. Like, they had, like, 2 games for PS4, and that was it. And maybe, like, 1 game for Xbox One, and no nothing else. And it's like, yeah, okay. I was like, I guess if you wanted to rent games, you go to a Family Video or something, around me at least.
Yeah. I'm sorry that it was like that for you. I'm kind of blessed that I live in an area that they're continuing to want to grow that area, and there were a lot of different grocery stores around.
There are a ton of Redboxes around me. That's not the issue. It's just they stopped having inventory of crap, of games.
I mean, I saw Death Stranding in one just a week ago, so they were they were continuing to put in new games in there.
Yeah,
so
I checked. I actually was at a Redbox. I went by Walmart yesterday, and they stopped selling games already, or stopped having games.
Oh, really? Wow.
Like, the button wasn't even on the screen anymore.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure that, especially with, there's no more big games coming in this year, and I think also we got to think about it this way. Redbox is probably not getting some big deal, like I'd say GameFly perhaps is, to have these games at their box, the boxes. And so is it really cost effective for them to have these $60 titles that people can also rip Redbox off, number one. Number two, if you're paying $60 for each disc, how many are you putting in each one of these boxes? How many times are they really getting rented? With YouTube and Twitch and everything out there now, do you really need to... I mean, I would say that there's nothing like having hands-on time with a game, but there's so much out there to watch, whether it's reviews or video streams or cutscenes or blah, blah, blah of a big AAA game, that do you really need to go spend $3, $6, $9 to have that thing for a weekend to try to see if you like it?
Yeah.
You know, I think
why,
if you... Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that's kind of why not Game Pass, it's that male Netflix... Gamefly has kind of been faltering for years now, it seems like.
Yeah, they're still there, but...
Yeah.
I mean, literally, someone still has it in my mom's neighborhood, because they stuck it in my mailbox on accident, and I had to go personally deliver it to them. So, you know...
I would have taken it, opened it up, played it, and then sent it back without them to watch there.
That's terrible. But, yeah, you know, as long as GameFly can still exist, good for them. I think also Game Pass is probably hurting that as well, because...
Oh, yeah. It's a good deal if you want it to be, or, if you're into it.
Yeah, and especially with... it being available on PC now. And I think when xCloud gets out of beta, it'll be on, available on your phone. So what do you need to go rent something at Redbox for as far as games go?
Right. I still think there's a good novelty, or just a good nostalgic factor about like going to a rental store and, they have this game in stock. Let's do it.
Oh, I agree with you. I miss that too.
Yeah. Are there any either chain or local video stores around you?
In Texas, we had a lot of family videos. I don't know where they all are at this point. How many of them have shut down?
Yeah.
Here, at least where I am, and in Miami, where I used to live. There's none.
Yeah.
So.
See, we have family videos around here. I never go to them. But that's about I don't know if one or two independent family or independent video stores, but they have no games at all because games don't get rented. So.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing is, do you really go there to rent your game? And also, it winds up, you have to think about it with games having so many sales now, too. Okay, I'm going to go rent this game and have it for 5 days and pay $15, or do I spend $10 more and just buy the game outright if it's on a sale? I
think Borderlands 2 hit 30 2 months after it came out, or maybe even just a month after it came out.
Mm-hmm. There's games that, whether they're good or bad, even Sony itself likes to do that.
Yeah.
I think the only one that doesn't do it is Nintendo, and we've talked many times about why, and perhaps they're right about that because people buy them anyway. But
the only deal to see in Nintendo stuff is from Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
It's new releases for the first week or maybe the first 2 weeks, they have Nintendo-made games $10 cheaper.
They'll do. I think Nintendo will do one big sale for Black Friday, one for Christmas, and that's about it.
Yeah.
On their major titles.
They do a bunch of sales, but they're not for games that people care about.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is number one, their sales are nowhere near what the Xbox and PS4 sales are when those are available. And even then, they're for indies or other games that are not Nintendo made.
Right.
So, yeah, but it looks like physical media, another side of the physical media is going down. Redbox no longer renting games. So, one thing that I forgot with the Microsoft thing is there is still and I think Phil Spencer has confirmed this, that there is still life out there for Lockhart, the streaming-only version of the Xbox Scarlet. And the idea, obviously, is even though the Xbox One S digital, I don't think the sales are whatever they want it to be for that.
The sad.
Yeah, they're exactly that, the sad. But I think also that comes from because you already have one that has a disc drive, and you can technically find that one a lot cheaper sometimes than the one that doesn't have the disc drive.
And it's more versatile because there's a lot of used Xbox One games out there. So
I think when you're coming into this console cycle, though, with the way things are going for GameStop, which is not good, a digital-only version that's at least $100 to $150 cheaper than your big, beefy console that a lot of people may not need or may not really be able to get the most out of still. I mean, we're another year into 4K TVs, and they just keep getting cheaper and cheaper, so maybe by the time you get to holiday 2020, 4K TVs are cheap enough to where it may not necessarily matter too much, that difference between the 2K and the 4K that you're going to get with these consoles. But I think when you're making plans for a launch console, I mean, I'm thinking about it myself. Yes, I have 2 4K TVs in my mom's house. I don't have any at my girlfriend's house, or girlfriend's apartment, but I don't know where I'm going to be by the end of that year. Who knows what's going to be happening. I do know that when I'm looking at a launch console, if I were to choose the Xbox, the problem is Microsoft keeps making it not necessarily something I need to buy with the existence of xCloud. If they can really make that work without too much trouble, then do I really need to go out there and go crazy to buy a box? If I can get it to work on my PC for a while and then just go get a PS5. But I mean, let's say for giggles here, if they did, which I think, to me, if you're going to have this digital console without the hard drive, I think you need to do the thing that you didn't do with the SAD.
Without the disk drive, it needs a hard drive.
It's not going to have one, though. Let's. Number one, I think you're talking about another year of GameStop closing stores and all that stuff. Used discs are going to start becoming scarce. I mean, how many other used places are there? I mean, Best Buy does it sometimes. Walmart does it sometimes, but maybe Walmart and Best Buy start picking them up a bit more if GameStop really goes out. But I think you're going to start seeing that become... We're going to be going even more and more and more to digital. As crappy as that may seem... so Microsoft may not be off the reservation here. I do think, though, that extra $50 makes a big difference to me.
I still think, I mean, like this whole all digital idea still is too pie in the sky, because there's just not enough infrastructure coverage-wise, across the country and world, and bandwidth limit, no bandwidth caps to make that worthwhile. Well,
but, okay, if the X costs the same as the PS5, then what's the big deal?
I mean, it'll be, I think, what it always is, exclusives for each console.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of talk, I've, seen a lot of talk about, well, if the Xbox One S exists, then that means that they have to now make games work for that console, which could hurt how the games look on the Xbox, Anaconda or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I don't know, because with these consoles becoming more and more like PCs, isn't it just like when you have to make a PC game work on a lesser PC, but also it works on your high-end PC too?
I mean, that's how it is now with like the Xbox One X and the Xbox One.
Yeah.
It's basically like a normal mode and a high mode, and even like the PS4 and PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
I just don't think I don't think power necessarily equates to sales or direct input, because compare like the PS2 to the original Xbox. The original Xbox blew that thing out of the water specs wise, but the PS2 had too much of a head start, both with like name recognition and I think sales. Like at least came out like 1 year, maybe two, at least 1 year before the original Xbox, maybe two, but I think at least one.
Which is why they reversed that with the 360.
Yeah, and that worked. I mean, that worked in the short run, maybe not in the long term, and technically, but I mean, I think the PS4 and Xbox One, they came out, around the same time.
Yeah.
But the Xbox One had too much of a bad press that was almost dead from the start.
Which, to be fair, Microsoft has done everything they possibly can in that time to make themselves feel like a consumer-first company. I mean, they're the ones doing Xbox Game Pass. Sony is not doing that. I mean, it took them forever just to let you download the games off PS Now.
Yeah.
So, they did. Go ahead. Sorry.
Did you see the thing today, like the meme about like Sony Xbox is like they're trying to like come up with a new name to like signify what the new Xbox is going to be called, or like gonna be capable of. And my idea is Xbox Connect 3.0 edition.
Pretty sure they are making sure they stay clear from whatever that is. Yeah, I mean that's going to be a thing whenever Phil Spencer finally reveals whatever that's going to be called. They tend to base it around whatever they think the theme of their console is, as opposed to having a number, and that's fine too, I guess.
The Xbox Bud Smoker edition.
The Xbox We Can Do Everything digitally edition or whatever.
Yeah.
I think with xCloud and Game Pass and putting Game Pass on your PC and putting Game Pass on, there's still people talking about a Master Chief Collection on the Switch for some reason. They were the first ones to really try to get crossplay going with Nintendo. I think Microsoft has helped themselves a lot going into this next gen, and if the prices match up, and
here's the biggest problem is, okay, let's say the Xbox 420 comes out, and it's all Game Pass centric. You can buy, you can play any Microsoft game on it. How do they make money? How do they make money?
Well, they're trying to get you to still buy the box, but obviously that's not their number one priority.
Well, buying the box, like, let's say people are going to buy the good version, essentially. They're going to be losing money on that.
Right, but so is the PS5.
Because that's what like they've always done. Like Sony and Microsoft have always lost money on like the console itself.
Right.
And they make money back on the peripherals, controllers and cameras and crap like that, which, I mean, they may make money on controllers, but I think those are supposed to be backward compatible. And games.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you not have games out of the equation because of this Game Pass. And it's like, okay, I get it's like the WWE mentality of like, oh, you pay $10 a month for this thing and we just get it all. But that's different than paying, there are more than one game coming out per month, like, unlike a pay-per-view. Like, so...
Yeah, but not everything is coming to Game Pass. I mean, they have a lot of things that are. Right?
I mean, if I was into Game Pass, I'd get it for one, get it around November or December a year, but play all the Microsoft crap I wanted to play, and that was it. cancel it that much.
Right, but 2020 at least. I mean, obviously this is before the new console, but 2020 has like at least 6 or 7, if you include the Cuphead DLC, Microsoft games coming.
Yeah.
So then you got the new Halo coming out with the system.
Yeah.
So I mean, you just had Gears 5, come out this year, which is their one like saving grace for this year, but they already knew that pretty much. I mean, they have all those old game, the all the Final Fantasies, all the Kingdom Hearts, all the the games they already have on there coming to Game Pass. I mean, I think it's a great deal for what it is, especially when they're also trying to compete with. I mean, I don't know how much competition it is right now, but Stadia. And you can
no competition.
Yeah, I mean, you can show everybody, hey, does Sony bite the bullet? And they think about doing a streaming service.
I don't think they care about it at the moment because they don't need to.
Well, yeah, they don't. But I wonder if perhaps, let's say that, Microsoft gets a bigger piece of the pie this starting out because they have much, they have a better goodwill than they did, starting out last time.
Yeah.
Does Sony go, oh, maybe we do need to do this? I mean, Sony is already playing nice a lot more than they were previously.
Yeah.
So.
But it's like I always point out, like, I always think about last generation when that Defiance MMO was coming out, and Sony wanted cross-play, and Microsoft was like, fuck you. Like,
right.
Well, look how the tables have turned.
But I think, even though people, the gamers are a lot more vocal right now. And with streaming and with, or not streaming, the influencers and all that stuff that you didn't have in previous generations, I think you can make their voice even louder, and you get that voice loud enough, as we've already seen with some of these games, Fortnite, Minecraft, all that, there'll be more crossplay going into this generation. And I don't know that we're going to see like full-on, Sony stuff is showing up on Microsoft's console, and Microsoft's stuff is showing up on Sony's console, and we see it so with Nintendo, but,
I saw a bunch of dumb rumors about, like, the Halo collection is coming to the Switch, and I'm like, no. Like, don't be crazy.
I mean, I don't think it'd be totally out of the realm of possibility, but I'm not, like, counting, I'm not going crazy about it either, but I just think the Switch is one of those, like, I don't think Sony and Microsoft are not totally worried about Nintendo, really, as far as, like, they know once PS5 and Xbox whatever come out, the luster on the Switch will die down some.
Yeah.
So I don't know that they're totally worried about them. Even if there is a Switch Pro in the works, I still think some of that luster will die down. Yes, Nintendo will have Nintendo games that nobody else can really compete against, as they got to show off this year with a lot of Nintendo games being highly thought of. But I think that's going to be fun. That end of 2020 is going to be fun to see how this goes going into 2021. Microsoft bought all these studios. Does it really work out for them? Does it make people want to buy? Does Game Pass make people want to buy the next Xbox console to want to play games right there on your system and not necessarily have to go out and buy everything and spend $60 on everything? I think that does help sway a consumer that says, I can't possibly buy every frickin' game that's coming out between February or end of January to April 2020. Microsoft helped me out by putting some of them on Game Pass, and here you go. Like,
I'm sure once Compulsion Games releases We Happy Few 2, everyone's going to flock to the next.
I hope that they are not making that at all. But
I couldn't believe like they released DLC for that game like just a month ago or whatever. And it's like,
I think they're just trying so hard to make people think that was a good game or something.
Yeah, it's like please don't. Just call it a mistake and move on. Like, forget it. We can do that. We have the power.
It's okay. It's okay to admit when you are wrong. So, speaking of announcements that we didn't expect, 2K announced that they are making a new studio called Cloud Chamber. They're going to be housed between Novato, California, and Montreal, Quebec, headed by Kelly Gilmore, and they're working on who's worked at Firaxis Games for almost 20 years. Of course, they're the ones that are making. They've made XCOM, they made the Civ series for years. They're working on a new BioShock. Of course, there's no Ken Levine involved in this one, but they did have BioShock 2 that didn't have Ken Levine involved either. Some people like that game, some people don't.
Yeah, I think BioShock 2 is the best one, actually.
See, there would be a lot of people to be like, "You're crazy, Mark. What's wrong with you?"
I had the best combat and the least dumb story.
So, I feel like I've seen a lot of people wonder about where the hell do you go with BioShock from here? What do you want it to be? Where do you kind of lie on the whole, okay, do you like the way it was originally, or do you like the way it went with Infinite? What do you think is what's more valuable?
An interesting idea, but the combat was bad, and they really didn't do anything with the actual premise. So I think you might try going like present day would be interesting. And because you can always have, Infinite basically allowed for like sliders to happen, or it's basically like infinite dimensions, and there's only a lighthouse and whatever. So yeah, you could do it now, or you could do it whenever. I just think this is I think it's a bad idea. I think Borderlands is not Borderlands, sorry, BioShock as a brand is pretty vaunted, and if they fuck this up, it's damaged beyond repair.
But why do you think it's a bad idea? Just because they could mess it up, or?
Well, I think BioShock Infinite just did lay a pretty good final point on it, or a period for the whole thing. So, trying to gin it up again, it's like this. It's like the same thing with Mass Effect. That final Mass Effect 3 laid a pretty good period on the trilogy, and BioShock might not have started as a trilogy, but that's fine. You don't need to dredge it up. Make something new. And remember, BioShock is derivative of System Shock. Make it, make something new with that, or make a new idea.
Well, I mean, it is a franchise that has a name. So if you're 2K, why not try to use that and see? I mean, you kind of know what made it important. I mean, the David Ismailer, says that what he sees as the most important parts of BioShock is the powerful narrative and the first-person shooter gameplay. I don't know. I mean, obviously, powerful narrative, that's what I think about when I think of BioShock, but I don't know why everybody would say that they loved considering it a first-person shooter. I don't know. It's going to be difficult, obviously. Like you're saying, there's a big chance that they could mess it up. Because the thing about BioShock is that each one of those games is sort of different in its own way, and how can you make a fourth game, which, according to Jason Schreier and at Kotaku, this has been in the works for years. Certain Affinity was doing it for a while.
Yeah, I think Giant Bomb went into a lot more detail about the failed BioShock projects that have kind of come and gone.
So I don't know. I feel like if they're announcing this and they're saying this is years away. Don't expect nothing crazy like it's happening soon, but know that it's there, and you announce a new studio for it and everything. I feel like 2K has a good history for the most part.
I'm kind of curious, like, what Ken Levine Studio's doing. Because, Bioshock Infinite came out a while ago.
They're working on something, but they just don't really know what it is.
For the past 4 or 5 years, it's like, all right, like, how much more money are you going to throw away at this guy before? It's like, you have to show us something. You just can't run this clock and budget down forever.
Well, some people have the power to be able to get people to believe in them longer than others.
Just look at George Broussard with Duke Nukem Forever.
Yeah. Some games can be in development for a while and it works out well, and some don't. Leading more to the don't, but hey, it's kind of, he could make this be a thing. Gwent is getting shut down, so is Elder Scrolls Legends.
Well, Gwent is only shut down on the consoles, but the mobile and whatever PC version is still going on.
That makes sense. When I think of card games, I think about mobile and PC. I don't really think about consoles that much.
Yeah, I think Gwent, I think it was very good in Witcher 3, but when they spun it out, people were like, who cares? And as far as that Elder Scrolls game, no one I know ever played it or even mentioned it. And I didn't even know what it was. Like, when the news stories hit, I'm like, I thought they were shutting down the MMO. I was like, what is this Legends thing? And I look it up, and I'm like, oh, it's a card game. They made that?
Yep.
I think, we were talking a little about this before the air, or before we were on. They keep, once Hearthstone happened, everyone was trying to chase that money. And it's like, Hearthstone itself is barely surviving. And, what makes Artifact and this Elder Scrolls game better than Hearthstone? It's like, nothing.
Elder Scrolls Legends always felt like a total just, why are we making this? Yeah. Everybody went to sleep or went to the bathroom or groaned when they would show this off at E3. And it was just like, this isn't needed. And they kept doing it because everybody wants to have some kind of card battle game. And now you're seeing, I give credit to the SteamWorld Quests and Slay the Spires and others that are...
I think with those, the difference is those are single-player games.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. They took a card game and made it into an actual game. And not just the card battle thing. So... that's the way I think things are going for that, instead of trying to be another Hearthstone, because, like you said, just like WoW, there's only so many MMOs out there because it's really hard to sustain that all the time.
Yeah. There are basically, I think, 5 MMOs that are that are profitable that I know of that aren't Korean or Japanese, and those would be WoW, Final Fantasy 14.
Well, Final Fantasy 14 technically it's Japanese.
Well, that aren't strictly in Japan.
Oh, okay.
Let's say that. Guild Wars 2, Elder Scrolls Online, I think, and maybe 1 or 2 more.
Destiny.
That's not an MMO. It is, but it's not like a traditional MMO.
Right.
Shooter. And also, that didn't do well initially. That had to go free.
They're doing a lot better now that Bungie got away from Activision.
Yeah, oh yeah. But the reason they did that is because it wasn't doing well. So.
Yeah, there's others out there, but you don't really hear that much about them. So.
Yeah. It's like big shock. There's not a big candle being held over EverQuest 2.
Yeah.
Remember the Matrix Online?
Oh boy, let's not.
Yeah.
What do you think about they're releasing Matrix 4 and John Wick 4 on the same day? What?
Good planning.
Who thought of that? Keanu Reeves is going to be everywhere.
He'll be making bank, I guess, regardless. I think between the two, I think the Matrix 4 will get pushed off before John Wick 4.
Well, yeah, because people can just wait for more Matrix. It's been so long. They'll be all right.
How are they going to make the Matrix, though? Because Neo died in the film or the stupid movie or MMO, and I think they all died in the MMO, actually. Is that not going to be canon anymore?
Probably not. Just saying, probably not. Game rankings is officially closed, which I shed a tear a little bit here because at one point, 401 are a place that both of us still ride at. I mean, Mark does a lot more than I do, but at one point, 401 was actually on game rankings. Therefore, I have no idea why. Just all of a sudden, out of the blue, we were told that we could not put game rankings little thing on the bottom of the reviews. But it was kind of cool. It made you feel like you had made it when you had gotten to be on game rankings, and then obviously Metacritic came, and they were a lot more stringent, and it made you. I mean, obviously, it's the same goes when you get to be on Metacritic or even OpenCritic, which I'm one of those people that, not to be snooty or whatever, but I do tend to go in and see what. 'Cause I do tend to believe a lot more of the freedom that OpenCritic gives you a bit more than Metacritic does. But either way, they both work and serve their purpose. So it's officially offline now. You'll just get redirected to Metacritic, but Game Rankings was cool for the time. It was like the only place around that was like aggregated reviews, and you could. Sometimes the links would go down, but for the most part, you could read all the reviews on that one place, and
I mean, it was awesome. Cool, but they never seemed to upgrade their site, like the style of the site.
It's like GameFAQs. They stayed the same way.
It's like 1999 or something. Like, what? Like, I guess it's still functional enough, but it looks like ancient compared to most sites nowadays.
Right, exactly.
You're waiting for some JavaScript pop up to like happen or something. It's like, that shit closed down years ago. Like,
yeah, come on.
What is this?
So, also, In the Valley of Gods is on hiatus because Campos Santos, all the people working on that game kind of had to go to Half-Life Alyx or other games.
Yeah, they bought the studio and then split up the team, and it's like, well, good work.
And one of the writers quit because basically I think he just believes that there's no way they're working on this game again.
Yeah, there was that writer that, I mean, he was not like a part of the team, but he was like some hired gun or something, and he made some like long Twitter diatribe about it. And I was like,
which I don't really blame him for.
What?
I don't blame him so much for that. I mean,
yeah, because he probably he put in like a lot of time into it, and it's like, well, they're not making it, so it's not basically Half-Life 3 once again. Like,
yeah,
it's a shame because that game, I wasn't like super in love with Firewatch, but that game looked okay.
In the Valley of Gods looked interesting when they showed it off at the Game Awards.
I mean, it looked like a lot like a Mummy game or something, but with like female characters.
Right.
And less Brendan Fraser.
I hope that they do get to work on it again, but I'm like you. I'm kind of thinking not.
Well, it's like Valve puts out so few games as it is. Like, the last game they put out was Artifact, and the one before that was like Dota 2. And it's like, you guys don't have a great track record here. Like, you're not like pumping games out every year or anything like that. Like, people are still like wondering where like Left 4 Dead 3 is. And that's been Left 4 Dead 2 was like 2012, maybe way earlier than that actually.
Yeah.
Maybe like 2009. And it's like it's been almost a damn decade since another Left 4 Dead.
It's been a while. That's why they're having that team come back and they're making that.
It was 2009. It's the last Left 4 Dead, and it's like, well, it's only been a decade since you made one. Like,
well, they have a problem counting to 3. So.
Yeah.
Well, Riot is finally... Well, the settlement isn't technically approved by the court yet, but Riot has offered up to pay $10 million in the gender discrimination lawsuit to get it settled.
Yeah.
And, the money will go to employees who've worked at Riot Games over the last 5 years. Approximately 1,000 female-identifying employees who worked between November 2014 till now will get some kind of compensation for this. They haven't done the math yet, but, it's good that this is finally kind of coming to a close. I think yes, they'll get the money. The stuff they had to go through, that won't replace that. But at least you would think that this might finally make Riot have to change their practices and get rid of some of the people that you still have there that were part of this problem and everything else.
I mean, you say that, yeah. But I don't think they've mentioned they fired anyone or anything like that. So
no, I think obviously they have to wait till this whole thing shakes out and is finished. So they don't want to cause any more, give them any more negative publicity right now.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we also fired the main guy who's doing this, or fired, the team, or, whoever.
I totally expect them to quietly fire people.
Yeah.
When this is completely over, but yeah, I mean, it's good. I'm glad that some of the women, or all the women, are going to get something. I don't know any of them personally, but I have talked to several of them on, Twitter, DMs, or whatever, or listened to things that they're on, podcasts or other sites or whatever, so glad to know that they're getting something out of this, but it's just, this should have never had to happen. But it's one of those that we keep seeing. That, I mean, if there's anything, this last few years has been a revelation for this kind of thing. Hopefully, this will be the last of the big ones of us hearing stuff like this going on.
Yeah.
And we can get more into a let's treat everybody equally workplace.
Right. But I think there's always going to be some of that whole guy mentality thing or something stupid like that, fortunately.
I mean, you see it every day with the streamer people.
Yeah.
And, I mean, obviously, there's a toxic community in every community, whether it's Star Wars, whether it's Marvel, whether it's gaming, whether it's sports, anything. We see it all the time.
Don't worry, wrestling's going to be always safe.
Yeah, wrestling is just as bad. But we still see it, whether it's titty streamers or female streamers in general, or this guy said this and this guy said that, BS. I don't think that's totally going to go away, but in the workplace where you have an office and you have people that are congregating every day and all that stuff, you shouldn't see it. When you're talking about somebody working on a stream and creating their own content, and you have crazy people go into a chat and say stupid stuff, that's always going to be around, unfortunately.
Yep.
So it's just the way of the internet.
Yeah. At least for now.
Alright, so let's talk about games we've been playing kind of quickly, or at least my part's going to be quick.
Yeah, I mean, you can go first if you want.
Okay, so I'm up to the 6th gym. I mean, I got 5 badges. I'm almost at the 6th gym leader in Pokemon Sword. I definitely do get that feeling of they've started to rush the story a little bit. And you really do start feeling the whole, okay, we're going along a route. Oh, we're getting to the city that has a gym. Okay, I know what I'm going to do in here. I mean, that's mostly all Pokemon games, but again, the not having that many diversions thing kind of you start feeling it there. I will say I'm still having fun with the game. My Pokemon are almost at level like 50 at this point, and I'm at gym number 6, so I think supposedly the champion's at level 60 when you have to face him, so I guess my crew will be ready to go for that if things keep going the way they are with how they gain experience and all that stuff. I forgot to mention, I think last week when I was more in depth with it, the Dynamaxing and Gigantamaxing and all that is cool. It's really cool when it happens because the crowd gets all crazy and sometimes they chant and there's different music and whatever, but it's a gimmick like all the other gimmicks, the Z moves and the Mega Evolutions and the whatever. It's there for 3 turns. The only time I ever do it is when the gym leader does it so that I'm not at a disadvantage. Yeah. But I don't ever feel like if your team is balanced and you have the, the weakness to go against, I mean, the element weakness thing down, and you know which one should be fighting which one, even when they're Dynamaxed, you might be able to withstand that, and then they can't Dynamax again for the entire battle, so you're alright. I mean, I'm cool. Like, all these Pokemon games lately have had gimmicks. It's not a bad thing. It's just, I don't think this is going to survive past this Sword and Shield, and they'll have another gimmick to go along with the next one and whatever, and I just don't, it's not the biggest deal in the world. So, I think the wild area is, a million times a bigger deal and something they should take on forward as opposed to that. So, if you were upset or somebody said something about why I didn't mention it, it was well, I kind of forgot, to be honest, but the reason I forgot is because it's not really a big deal.
Right.
I played the King Knight expansion thing, the King of Cards. It's more Shovel Knight. It has a triple triad sort of card game that you actually need to play. Okay, you don't have to play it to get through the game, but if you want to get better equipment for King Knight, you need to actually win. So it's not always, it feels weird. It's not always the best game that's there for that, but it's cool. If you want more Shovel Knight, this is definitely it. And this is apparently this is the longest one of all the Shovel Knight campaigns. So if you bought the Treasure Trove, you're definitely going to get your money's worth with this one.
Yeah.
And Rise of Simple Story is just that, a simple story. It's 2 hours long. I haven't finished it because the first time I was playing, I was doing it on keyboard, and it was a pain in the ass to platform with the keyboard. After I got the gamepad again, it was a lot easier. It's actually sort of neat. Okay, so you can play co-op. So perhaps, the PC isn't the best thing for that, even though you could just plug in another gamepad and whatever, but so you play as the male character if you're one player. If you're 2 players, then the person you play with, whether it's your significant other or not, you can play with a friend technically, they get to play as the female character looking for the male character. So it's cool. You get to see both sides of the story, but it's you get to live out their memories and flashbacks and things like that. It's really just, it does have an impact in a way if you're one of those people that you've been through relationships and you kind of been through some stuff, I think it might impact you in a way there. The platforming is pretty simple. The mechanic is that you can go using the left and right thumbstick. You can either reverse time, which makes it snowy and stuff like that, or you can go forward in time and there's water everywhere and you have to figure out how to jump through that and where you need to go to find the next statue of the that leads you to the next where you're supposed to go. That isn't always the best. Some of it's clunky, and trying to figure out exactly where you're supposed to go is not always clear. But it is kind of fun to explore in the same vein as well. So I've enjoyed it. It's $20. I know not everybody some people are very cautious about, oh my god, it's a 2-hour game, why the hell am I going to spend more than $5 on that? But I think the story is well worth your time if you like short games like that. So yeah,
well, I was going to say, speaking of short games, I picked up the Touryst with a Y, which good spelling on that, I guess. But that game's awesome. It reminds me of like an old-style Zelda game, but it's isometric. It's like blocky and pixelated intentionally.
They kind of look like little Lego characters, right?
Yeah.
Ish. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just cool. There's no combat, at least not that I've seen so far. Like I got like a dash, but all I can do is jump and climb. Like there's no there's no enemies or combat. It's all just puzzle solving and interacting with different NPCs.
Well, I saw some where you evade, like you do evade things that are get in your way.
There are like boss fights, but they aren't they don't kill you. It's just you're just stuck in a room with this boss, and it's like
they just mess up your puzzle.
One of the bosses is like, okay, you're in this room. That the boss is like this big snake that's like moving towards you all the time, but it's like a chess piece, or it's like jumping squares, or like jumping like that. And there are 4 glowing blocks in the room, and you have to get this boss to smash all 4 of them. And that's it. Like, you can't do it, but the boss has to like land on the block for it to crush, and then once all 4 go away, then the boss is done.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like super inventive. It's a lot of fun. I think it has a good writing. It looks great. It also plays really well. Like it's simple art style, but compared to like Binding of Isaac, which is I've been having a lot more technical issues with, like it plays great because I think they designed it well for the system.
That's important.
A lot of fun. I think it's well worth $20. Ever play 3D Game Heroes?
Yes.
It reminds me of that, but without combat.
Oh, I love that game.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot more talking to people, or like, okay, you have to like pick up this smoothie guy. He needs certain fruit to like make smoothies. So you have to pick up like 2 watermelons and a strawberry. And once you do that, you get a smoothie from him, which unlocks like this elevator guy who needs a smoothie because then he'll unlock the elevator for you to use, and then you can use the elevator to go on this shrine, and it's like stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it works pretty well. And I guess
awesome.
I forget the company name. Oh, who is it? Let's see. It's Shinin Multimedia. Some Japanese developer, I think. Put it this way: they have an apostrophe. Oh, it's a German. Yeah, I might have to guess again how to pronounce their name. But they have a bunch of old ports of their games in this thing as like arcade games.
I saw that in the trailer. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Which are like hard. Yeah, I mean they're fun, but they're like challenging. But yeah, I think it's well worth it. Like, I bought it because, well, the reason I was interested is it got like a lot of good reviews, like really, like just a few days ago, like 9s and like 9.5s and stuff like that. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, they also made the Fast RMX. That was a Switch launch game.
Was that the?
That's the F-Zero.
Yeah. Okay.
Lookalike.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, huh, this looks okay.
Yeah, I mean, they make other games like that, Nano Assault and Jet Rocket. They're known for, like, sort of racing
games. But this is like a very relaxed game. So, like, one of the quests involves you land on this beach and there's a beach party going on, and you have to like pump up the party, like the energy of the party for like the DJ to get happy. So you're going around like flicking all these switches and like plugging shit in, and eventually like the party gets to maximum level and he's all like, yay. Too bad I only have one song, so buy me some more music.
Right.
Other than that, the biggest thing was I got a SD to SNES Pro flash card, which is fun.
I know you've been excited about that thing, so...
Yeah, it's funny. The reason I bought it is there are a few Super Nintendo diagnostic programs that, like, you play them or you use them to, like, diagnose your problems with Super Nintendo.
Mm-hmm. And
I ran them, and it said my Super Nintendo worked fine. And it's like, nope. Nope.
Wow.
So that's like those programs, I think they ran okay, but they didn't see what my problem was specifically. So I'm like, oh well, at least I still have this cool looking thing. And I guess like there are SNES games that are being updated.
But
now.
You did eventually figure out what was wrong with it, right?
Yeah, I went to take apart my Super Nintendo and saw wires coming out of this fucking chip in it. I'm like, yeah, it's probably not a good sign.
Can't fix it?
I don't know. I'm afraid to. I think maybe, or I may have to like find a guy, which is always nice. But there's I guess people like retro hacking SNES games to add an MSU-1 support, and that means like much higher audio quality, like basically like CD audio level quality into SNES games.
Yeah.
So that looks fun. Like, there's some like Zelda game that looks insane because they added in like a bunch of like high fidelity music and then like anime cutscenes into Zelda Link to the Past.
Oh wow,
like,
nice.
How big is this game going to be? I don't think it's done. Or I think it might have just been like some test case or something. Because I couldn't find a link for it. But I imagine that ROM is going to be big.
Probably.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm happy to have that cart, and then hopefully my stupid, obscene obsession with buying Super Nintendo games will be over. Because my Super Analog NT or whatever it's called can already run like 99% of the SNES games in the market already, and this handles like the other like 0.9%. Like it can't play like 4 Japanese games, and that's it. And it's like, why do I want to buy Earthbound? This is dumb.
You know you want it. Earthbound's
I do,
good.
but not for $150 or whatever.
No.
That's about what Earthbound goes for nowadays.
I wouldn't pay that. That's crazy.
Right. But yeah, I'm getting a bunch of crap in tomorrow, and I got you got me Disco Elysium, which I'll start playing soon, hopefully, and then I got Darksiders Genesis. So hopefully
I've seen a lot of good reviews for that. So
yeah, my only problem is I wish that game was on PC, was really on console, because that'd probably be a good game to play at the end, but it's not, unfortunately.
I'm guessing they didn't have it come out on everything because they didn't want another Darksiders 3. They just wanted to see how this goes and then put it on stuff.
Well, I think it's coming out, like, the console versions are coming out, like, February.
Oh,
so they probably aren't done yet. But it's on, like, PC and Stadia right now. Like, alright.
Well, you know where you're going.
Yeah.
Definitely not Stadia.
Never. But yeah, I've just been playing a bunch of other like Fire Emblem and Binding of Isaac and Puzzle Quest, crap that I shouldn't be playing, and a lot of Assassin's Creed 3, which is really scaring me now.
Oh no, why?
Because Jens is like, why are you playing this?
Why? Yeah, exactly. Why? Why are you playing that?
I actually told Jens I've replayed Assassin's Creed 4 at least like 3 different times, and he was like dumbfounded. He was like, how do you have time? Or like, what? Don't you have other crap to play? I'm like, yeah, but it's kind of like a warm blanket because I know what I'm doing. And it's not hard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true.
I'm getting Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, I think, soon. And yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. But I'm actually going to have to try that game. Assassin's Creed 3, I don't have to try.
So... I mean, luckily for Mark the Tourist, it seems like it's short because he's got Darksiders Genesis, he's got Death Stranding, Jedi's Fallen Order, and Disco Elysium to play. Yeah. So
that'll be fun.
Yeah, that's a lot to go through. So let's. This is stuff we don't have to talk about, so we'll just cut the entertainment stuff off of there.
There were a bunch of trailers over the weekend that look pretty good. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, Black Widow, Free Guy, Wonder Woman 84. I think we all knew Black Widow, Wonder Woman 84 were going to be good. Free Guy looks like somebody made a GTA Online movie, and Ryan Reynolds is freaking awesome, so he's going to make it awesome.
It looks like a Black Mirror mixed with, like, Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, that too. Even my girlfriend, who's not a gaming person at all, watched that trailer for Free Guy, and she was like, we need to see this. I was like, this is basically like Grand Theft Auto the movie, but yeah. Ghostbusters Afterlife?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, it looked good too.
I heard some people complaining that there aren't jokes in it, and I'm just like, I think they're going more for tone, at least initially.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, can you let them have another trailer? I'm sure they can have jokes in that one.
Yeah, as long as they aren't like the queefing jokes in that Ghostbusters female movie, which is long diatribe about wonton soup. It's like,
some people, yeah, it's just... somebody could have just said, hey, you don't need that, but sure.
No, Paul Feig was just like, all right, be funny. And they were probably like, what about a script? And they were like, what's that?
We don't need a script, just whatever. We'll just ad-lib. It's all good. Okay, so like I mentioned, Game Awards either are about to happen or already happened. So these are from here until the end of the show. Well, okay, just really quick, even though you don't need us to do this, I'm just gonna... this week, we're getting towards the end of the year, but Dragon Quest Builders 2 comes out on PC. It's a great game on PS4 and Switch, so I'm sure it's going to be great on PC. One of my favorites from this year. Mech Warrior 5 Mercenaries comes out on PC. Has it already come out on console?
No, it's only on PC.
Oh, it's only on PC, so...
At least for now. I mean, it might come to consoles, but Mech Warrior's primarily always been a PC-focused franchise.
Okay, well, there you go. Ashen comes to PS4 and Switch. It's pretty good. I played some on Xbox. Last year, GTFO comes out on PC. It's a shooter. It's getting some publicity there. And Detroit Become Human comes to Epic Games Store.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you didn't play it on PS4 last year, I guess, but you can play it on PC now. So, and Dead End Job looks interesting, at least with a bunch of monsters and weird looking things. So, yeah. All right. So from here, on. We're talking about Game Awards stuff. So again, if you're listening to this after it already happened, then you probably don't need to hear us give predictions unless you want to see how wrong we were. Then have at it. We'll also, by the time you're probably listening to this, have our own Game Awards post show available. So also will probably be irrelevant here. But yeah, if you're listening to this before the Game Awards, then thank you for getting this far, first of all. Second, yeah, we're going to try to get through this and give our thoughts on not who we want to win. We might mention who we'd like to see win, but more of who we think will win these awards. And speaking of awards, we will have our Game of the Year top 25 that we normally do. The weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend, the weekend of the 21st, 22nd, or you can call it the weekend that Star Wars Rise of Skywalker comes out, whatever, floats your boat, or the weekend before Christmas, whatever. It'll be that Saturday night or that Sunday at some point. It won't just be Mark and I. It will also feature at least Randy Isbell, who will also be on that Game Awards post show, and perhaps Jens as well. So we can get. Up for it. And perhaps Daniel Anderson will make a return as well. I don't know. He has a weird schedule with his job, so. But at least should be 3 or 4 people. Won't just be us talking. We try to usually have like a little round table for that. We're also not doing our voting the same way. Kind of having everybody do like a top 10 just to kind of have an idea. Because I think when we have that list thing, we kind of don't always look at everything that's out there and really give things a fair shot that perhaps should be higher on lists because we're going off a tier system that's also flawed in a way. So perhaps this will, not that, again, the 25 that we came up with in the first 2 years that we've done this was bad or anything. Just, I feel like perhaps this might work out better this time. Let's see how that goes.
Yeah.
So, all right, enough with the preamble. Let's get into actually going through these nominations. So I'm going to leave Game of the Year last, obviously. So best narrative nominees are Plague Tale: Innocence, Control, Death Stranding, Disco Elysium, and The Outer Worlds.
I would probably say Disco Elysium, even though I haven't played it, but I know that's like the big hook for the game. I'd probably, personally, for me, it'd probably be Control, but that's just me.
I think I'd like to see Disco Elysium win, just because it's a narrative that you can take anywhere you want, and that's really decent. That's really cool. I also kind of have to look at, when these awards were being made, which is why you're going to see The Outer Worlds and Death Stranding on here a lot, is right when both of those games came out, or were about to come out.
It's just a tad weird because of the Jeff Keighley connection.
Yeah, also that. Jeff Keighley obviously loves the heck out of Hideo Kojima, so... and remember, fan votes are only 10%. The critics, obviously the 190 different game media, they got to vote on this. They are 90%. So what they say is going to matter a lot more here. I'm going to say Death Stranding is probably going to win.
I would say not, because I don't think the story in that game is that good. What I understand.
Yeah. It depends on who you talk to. This is such a polarizing game. There are people that just live and die by this game, and there's people that just can't stand it.
That's why I think, everyone loves Disco Elysium, so...
But the thing is, I think when this was when this was being made, Disco Elysium didn't have the big, huge publicity that it has now, where you've had a lot more people be able to play Disco Elysium. And I also think you're going to see more of that polarization hurt Death Stranding in the big category, the Game of the Year category. I think you're going to see it win some of the smaller things because perhaps it doesn't win the big category. But like I said, for me, I'd rather see Control or Disco Elysium win, but I think Death Stranding is probably going to win. Best ongoing game, I'm going to say Fortnite probably wins that, just from default. Even though Final Fantasy 14 probably should.
I'd probably say Fortnite. I mean, for me, it's just very immaterial, because I don't play any of those games. Yeah,
right. It's same here, but it just felt like we had to mention it. Best score, music. Cadence of Hyrule has fantastic soundtrack, especially if you love your Zelda. Death Stranding has a lot of licensed music, so depending on how you feel about that. Kingdom Hearts 3 has a fantastic soundtrack. If you like, that the typical Square Enix thing that you're used to hearing with RPGs, Sayonara Wild Hearts is all based around the entire game is a album. So if there was that's what makes that game stand out. Devil May Cry 5 has a good soundtrack as well. I gotta agree with these nominees here. I don't know. I feel like any of these really have a shot.
Out of this list, I would say Cadence of Hyrule, but I'm really not shocked, but I'm annoyed that Fire Emblem isn't on there.
This is another one that could go like either way. There's a lot of people that don't like when you put a lot of licensed music in your game soundtrack, and they shit on it. And there's people that, if it works for the game, they love it. So I could see Death Stranding win. What the hell? I'm gonna say Sayonara Wild Hearts, because that's what this game's built around.
Yeah, I've heard that's a pretty good soundtrack, but haven't played it, so.
The game's like 2 hours, though.
Yeah.
So, it's best art direction, Control, Death Stranding, Grease, Sayonara Wild Hearts, Sekiro, and Legend of Zelda's Link's Awakening.
I would actually say Control. Like, if it was like best graphics technical, I might say Death Stranding. But I think Control is like really good art style.
Well, I think he merged both of them now.
Yeah.
So this is both technical and looking or graphics or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
Oh my god. For me, I know Grease is technically. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm gonna say this one time. So, I'm not Spanish. I'm Venezuelan. We say Grease. Technically, in Spain, they cut off the so they have a different way of saying their S's and their Z's. So it's like Gree for them. But yeah, so don't get all technical on the way I say that. Honestly, for me, Grease is the most beautiful looking game out of the entire everything here. When I look back at I know it's a last year's game, so that might give it I don't want to vote for that. But when I look back to think about playing that game, that's all I think about, aside from the music and whatever. But I still think about that, and I haven't played that game since, I think, the beginning of January. Sayonara Wild Hearts is a really cool look to it. I don't think it'll win. I think there's enough people that don't like Link's Awakening's graphics.
No, I mean, It looks good, but it very iterative. I'm on the PBA game, or the Game Boy game, sorry. So, no. I mean, if that's the case, I'd probably say Kings of Hyrule.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Greece wins this. If there's one, I mean, I know Greece is nominated several times. If there's one thing it probably should win, is this.
Yeah. I mean, sure. We'll see. I've played it, so.
Right, yeah. Best game direction: Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2 Remake, Sekiro, Outer Wilds.
I'd say Control.
I would say Control as well, even though I could easily see Death Stranding taking this too.
I would say Control, and my second choice would be Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, when I think of what they did with the remake to change it, and just they made it perhaps an even better game.
But this is another category where like I would probably dump like Sekiro and put in like Fire Emblem because I thought that game, the direction of that game was like great.
Sekiro has some pretty good game direction too, though. What they did to change up what you think of a Dark Souls game and kind of put it on its head.
Like they really changed the idea of like the strategy game. Like it's not like bone-crushingly difficult like a Disgaea game or overly complicated like a Disgaea game. So
that's fair enough. I mean, that's good that there's multiple. I like it when there's multiple games that could win a category instead of just it's gonna win. You know what it is.
Yeah.
That's the thing though, is like kind of sucks that you're seeing a lot of the same games nominated in all these things, but
well, that's how it goes because I mean, Control is like one of the best games of the year. Resident Evil 2 is one of the best games of the year. Death Stranding is not one of the best. No, we'll see about Death Stranding. I'm kidding about that game, but like I know Ken was just playing it like fervently for like a week, and then after he finished it, he was like, "Yeah, that was a bad decision on my part."
Randy loved it, but he's a Kojima lover, so I don't know how much I can really take out of.
How many Fat Man references are going to be in this game? Or dressed up as
I mean, Metal Gear Solid, I think, is his like favorite game franchise of all time. So, take that for what you will on that. It's difficult to, I think, parse the author from the game there. Best indie game, Baba Is You, which I loved because it's so inventive and how it makes a puzzle game out of what it does. It's so cool. Disco Elysium, Katana Zero, Outer Wilds, and Untitled Goose Game. All of these are deserving. I think
say Disco.
Yeah, I think Disco Elysium is probably going to win. Shout out to Outer Wilds, though, for what it does, because it's a really, really unique game. Goose Game, though, to think about the craziness of that game, too.
But it's very, I think it's very, I wouldn't say simple.
It is very simple, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's very elementary. So it's not like, there's not like a lot of game mechanics. It's just about, dragging the shit to where you need to go and, or, annoying people so you can get to what you need.
Games for Impact, which sometimes I feel like this is kind of a weird category. Concrete Genie, which is one of the games that I wanted to play but I didn't get to. Grease.
Yeah, that game's weird because it came out, like, it made such a big splash when they showed the trailer, and then no one talked about it when it came out.
Yep. Kind Words, Life is Strange 2, and Sea of Solitude. Okay. I feel like Life is Strange 2 is going to win because that's the game that people out of all this list probably played.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say that or that Gris game. I mean, these five, I've never even heard of the other of Kind Words or Sea of Solitudes.
I've heard of Sea of Solitude. They made a big deal about it on E3.
Sea of Solitude. That's like that sea game, right? Or like you're alone or something.
Right.
Yeah. Should have called it Castaway too.
Yeah. That wouldn't have been off the beaten path there. Best VR game. This is a really good slate of VR games. To be fair, Asgard's Wrath I heard is really good. So is Blood and Truth. Of course, Beat Saber was the darling of the end of last year. No Man's Sky and Trover Saves the Universe, which hits Xbox this next week without VR. So
yeah, or just plug a PSVR into it, see what happens.
If Asgard's Wrath and Blood and Truth weren't so good, I'd say Beat Saber.
It'll be Beat Saber.
You still think so?
Yeah, I think my biggest problem with Beat Saber, honestly, as a game, is it just has music I don't care about. So, playing it's great, but I don't like those type of electronic music songs or the artists they get. It's all like the problem of like Rock Band or like not Rock Band, that Amplitude. That they did
Amplitude.
Yeah, like the PS4. It's like, all right. I mean, it's the same basic gameplay, but you have none of the songs I care about. So, by definition, this isn't a good music game.
Right.
There's a game.
I'd agree with you there. Yeah.
I've actually been playing Audio Shield on the PC, which is really good as a VR game.
Well, there you go. Everybody, check out Audio Shield.
Because that takes it's not like Beat Saber. Like you're not slacking things. You're guarding against like colored shots, but you can plug in any MP3 you want. So it's like, all right, this is neat.
Oh, sweet. I don't want to play that even.
What?
I don't want to play that.
Yeah. I got like $7. It was on sale, so I'm like, all right, neat. I wish it could be on Oculus Quest, but it never will be. Especially since I just bought, Beat Studio, whoever. So it's like that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I'm sure it won't now. This one should be really quick. Best family game: Luigi's Mansion 3, Ring Fit Adventure, Super Mario Maker 2, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Yoshi's Crafted World. Smash is going to win.
Yeah. Luigi's Mansion 2 is pretty good, though.
Yeah. I don't think of that as a family game, though. It's a it has co-op, but
well, it's like but it's more like single player.
So it's Super Mario Maker 2.
Find whatever you need to do.
Like for me, it's either Ring Fit Adventure or Smash, and Smash is going to win.
Yeah.
Best strategy game. If this is not Fire Emblem Three Houses, these people are on crack.
Yeah.
Age of Wonders Planetfall.
If that doesn't happen, I will riot.
For sure. It got snubbed for Game of the Year, so it better win this. As Age of Wonders Planetfall, Anno 1800, Fire Emblem Three Houses, Total War Three Kingdoms, Tropico 6, and Wargroove. I enjoyed Wargroove for what it was, but Fire Emblem Three Houses blows it out of the frickin' water. So
I mean, it should be in a strategy game, but it should also honestly be under like best RPG as well, from my view.
You aren't totally wrong there. Yeah, so that's Fire Emblem, hands down. I'm going to be honest, we're going to skip best sports game because...
Oh, everyone knows it's going to be WWE 2K20.
It's not. I'll say that if Crash Team Racing didn't have all the negative crap, it should have won. It could win, but it's probably FIFA.
Yeah, because all that, they introduced all that, pay-to-win stuff now in Crash, right? So,
yeah.
This is gross.
Why? Oh, it's Activision. Why am I asking why?
Yeah.
A fresh indie game, which I think that's supposed to be more for the developers than the actual game.
Yeah,
but
I don't think ZA/UM is a game.
Yeah, ZA/UM for Disco Elysium, Nomada Studio for Greece, Dead Toast Entertainment / Devolver for My Friend Pedro, Mobius Digital for Outer Wilds, and Mega Crit for Slay the Spire, House for Untitled Goose Game. So basically, you're talking about some of the big heavy hitters for indies this year. Disco Elysium, because that is the most inventive game I think we've seen in a long, long time for actually taking the choosing your own path thing and just really making it actually count.
Yeah.
I love Slay the Spire. It's one of my favorite games from this year. but Disco Elysium should definitely win there.
Right.
Best multiplayer game. I feel like this is Apex Legends to lose. Borderlands 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Tetris 99, and Division 2.
Yeah, I like Tetris and Division 2 is alright, but those aren't contenders, let's be honest here.
Yeah, definitely. With Apex being the big Battle Royale game it was this year, it's got to win something.
Yeah.
Best fighting game, which I feel like this is just Mortal Kombat 11 and Smash, and the rest of the people are just here to make a category.
What are you talking about, man? Jump Force is going to win.
Oh, God.
Goku and Naruto.
That game is awful.
Yeah.
Dead or Alive... Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Whenever we both got it at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
It was awful.
I was like, yeah, this is bad.
Dead or Alive 6, Jump Force, Mortal Kombat 11, Smash, and Samurai Showdown, which Samurai Showdown is pretty good, actually. But, yeah, this is... Okay, if you care about the...
See, I actually think Smash Brothers might win this.
I think it just depends on the people that... If they really care about the whole... Smash is technically a 2018 game.
Yeah.
But I mean, when I think about fighting games, and Smash is like the most popular and most highest grossing fighting game ever. And the Game Awards is gonna reveal the 5th fighter and all that stuff. Yeah, I think Smash is gonna win, but I wouldn't be surprised if Mortal Kombat 11 also is, because Ed Boon has done stuff for Game Awards before too.
Yeah. Well, this is where he announces Injustice 3.
Yeah, probably.
Or they announce like a WWE arcade game, which would actually be pretty cool.
That would be cool if they did that game.
That mobile game just for like
console. Yeah. It probably won't do it though.
No.
So best action game, Apex Legends. So this is stuff that doesn't have puzzling elements, basically. Apex Legends, Astral Chain, which I loved, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Devil May Cry 5, Gears 5, and Metro Exodus.
I don't think a lot of people, I know Yen's like Astral Chain quite a bit too. I don't know, I might see Devil May Cry winning this.
Yeah, I'd say Devil May Cry too. Even though Call of Duty is there.
Yeah.
And,
But I don't think I don't think the story got a huge, great reception necessarily.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I think about an action game, I'm thinking about Devil May Cry 5. That's the game that stands out. Being
in this list is kind of weird.
It's because they don't have a shooter category anymore.
Yeah, but it's not an action game. It's more of a stealth game, or the action adventure category, really.
Right, but technicalities, I guess. Best action adventure game, because this has puzzling in it. Borderlands 3, Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2, Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, and Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice.
Everyone knows it's going to be Borderlands 3.
Yeah, no.
I say that as a joke to Jens. No, I actually think by Control, Resident Evil 2.
Man, Sekiro could win this. Resident Evil 2.
I think Resident Evil 2 would be good because I really liked what they did with the map in that game. So, when you come up to a door that you can't open, it goes okay, here's a diamond on this door. So it's all right, now I got the diamond key. You have to look at this map and go, oh, now I can open all these stupid diamond doors I was passing.
Right. I think Sekiro's going to be the Spider-Man or the Horizon of this year.
For a bunch of crap,
it's going to get nominated and not win.
I feel that way about Death Stranding, also.
Oh, Death Stranding will win something, because you're not going to have Kojima show up to that thing and not get something. I'm going to say Resident Evil 2 wins this. Huh?
Nothing, I made a sex joke.
Oh, God. Resident Evil 2, I think, will win.
Yeah.
This one. Best role-playing game. Disco Elysium, Final Fantasy 14, Why is this not on best ongoing game? I have no idea. Final Fantasy 14. I mean,
it's not ongoing. No.
Kingdom Hearts 3. No, it's not. Not gonna win. Monster Hunter World Iceborne. God, I feel like that came out and no one talked about it.
I would call Monster Hunter honestly like a action game, not a RPG necessarily.
Well, I think they do it to separate it.
Yeah.
Out. The Outer Worlds, obviously in here. Okay.
Out of this list, I would probably say the Outer Worlds. That's not playing disco, but
yeah, I could see Outer Worlds winning this so he gets something.
Outer Worlds is fine. I just really fell off in the story hard. Like that was my problem with it. Like I stopped.
I've heard a lot of people say that.
Back to it, and then I was like, I have no idea where I'm supposed to go or what I'm supposed to do, and honestly, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, Disco Elysium should win, but I think Outer Worlds will win on this one.
Yeah.
Where else? Yeah, best performance. Ashley Birch as Parvati Holcomb for Outer Worlds. Courtney Hope as Jesse Faden for Control. Laura Bailey as Kate Diaz for Gears 5. I'm going to say they did a good job with Kate in Gears 5, so I agree there. But Mads Mikkelsen, I've heard a lot that he does a lot in Death Stranding.
Yeah,
so.
Jens in particular likes his character or his performance in that game.
Matthew Peretta as Dr. Casper Darling, which apparently is everybody's favorite character for Control. And Norman Reedus is Sam Porter Bridges, Death Stranding. Okay, if we're talking about Death Stranding, Mads should win out of the two. I feel like it is going to be Mads, though.
I think it'll actually be Ashley Birch, because I think people really climb onto that Parvati character in Outer Worlds, sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, Mads would also be a good choice, even though I haven't really seen him that much. But
best ongoing game: Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. Okay, Stormbringers has apparently been fantastic this year. I know Apex Legends hit everybody like out of nowhere, and they loved it for a while, but it also had a lot of negative stuff with the community and all that stuff. I don't know. I probably won't win, but I'm going to say Final Fantasy 14.
I'd probably say Fortnite, but yeah. I mean, Final Fantasy 14 does have the near dungeon, which is cool.
Yeah.
So it's nice.
Actually, I think we just did that category twice.
Yeah.
It's also late. So, best, I think that's it. We only have to do Game of the Year. I mean, best community, whatever. I think we did everything else. So, I'm just trying to go through again. Yeah, audio design, I think we didn't do. So, Modern Warfare is in here. I feel like this could be the one Modern Warfare wins.
Nah. Well, it's all like, yeah, audio design is Modern Warfare, Control as usual, Death Stranding as usual, Resident Evil 2,
or Death Stranding could win.
Gears 5. I mean, if it's just audio, I actually might say Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
Or Control, because both games, there's not a ton of audio in those games for a reason. It's because,
Yeah, but Control, will let you know things with the audio.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's good. You can hear the enemies spawning in.
Right.
And it has that really good Poets of the Fall song, so that's always nice.
Mm-hmm. I'll agree on there. Okay, so Game of the Year. Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, Smash, and Outer Worlds. Okay.
I'm going to write in Fire Emblem, and that should win.
Fire Emblem should have been in here instead of Outer Worlds. But
And that'll be my argument next year when Persona 5 Royal is not in any of these awards.
No. But okay, Persona 5 Royal is not really an expansion, it's DLC. that they're making into another game.
Yeah, but they did it before, so.
I know, but like at least Resident Evil 2 is like a full-on, remake, Link's Awakening, all that,
Yeah.
This is what's hard, I think this is gonna be one of the years that you're gonna have a game of the year. It's not God of War and Red Dead 2 fighting each other. It's not, Breath of the Wild and what was the other game from that year that I can't think of?
Mario Odyssey?
Well, that, and there was something else.
Metal Gear, or wasn't it Metal Gear Solid 5?
No. There was another game that it's out. Like, I'm gonna think about it when they won't matter anymore.
You'll bolt right up at 5 a.m. going, oh, is that game?
Okay. Death Stranding, I think, is too many people like and dislike this game. I think Smash is going to have too many. It's technically a last year game. Sekiro has it's hard and I didn't play it, or it's hard and I love it and it's the best game out there. To me, I think it's between Resident Evil 2 and Control.
Yeah, I think the Outer Worlds is good, but I think this narratively just kind of fell apart at certain points.
It had also.
I mean, between these two, I'd actually say Resident Evil 2. Control is very good, but it would still be like my number 3 or 4. Like for me, if I think Resident Evil 2 is number 1, or Fire Emblem, and then Control is number 3 or something. But you can tell when this cutoff, because I think like if they had these,
there's no Fallen Order, no Pokemon, no.
Yeah. I mean, like I think Star Wars Jedi will be like the one, like the Smash Brothers of this year for next year. It'll be like
we'll
this
see.
Game came out last year, but it was past the cutoff point.
Yeah, so. No Disco Elysium either, because.
No, I mean Disco was on here quite a bit.
I know, but I feel like. People didn't. I don't think it was like select. This is one of those things where Disco Elysium is getting a lot more after the cutoff. Yeah. I think people started talking a lot more about Disco Elysium than before the cutoff, and it's starting. Like now, you're seeing people. This is my game of the year. This is my game of the year. You weren't seeing that in September, so. I think you were seeing it as, okay, it's one of the best indie games from this year. It's one of the best RPGs because there wasn't that many RPGs, that kind of thing. But I think for this, again, this is where I think where you have the cutoff, and I also think Smash was just put in there. I don't know that people just decided we're going to vote for Smash. I think this is where you see it, where, okay, people were playing the Outer Worlds a lot, and people were playing Death Stranding a lot.
Yeah.
So, they're here, and I don't know. Maybe if you do the cutoff later, they're not both there. I don't know.
I mean, but I actually think Resident Evil 2, like, I think they'll just do, like,
I think Control's going to win.
Yeah. I mean, like, Control is a much more... It's more action-packed, obviously.
Yeah. Well, the physics is great, too.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it's a good game, don't get me wrong. The only problem I really had with Control was I played on a PS4, which sucked.
Oh, yeah. It's a very graphic-intensive
like, every time... Playing the game was fine, but every time I paused the game, it would, like, when I would unpause, it would, like, hitch for, like, 5 seconds. It's like, what is going on? And then it would, like, judder back to life, or judder back to, like, normal. But I'm like, what? I tend to pause games pretty regularly when I'm playing, or, get a drink of water, or, go get something to eat, or pet the cat or something. And this game is just, like, freaking out constantly.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is going to be a year where you're going to see so many different Game of the Year. And so I wouldn't take whoever wins here as gospel or whatever. This is a year that had a lot of great games, both big and small. And you didn't have just this masterpiece of a game that you go, okay, that has to win.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a fun year to see, who ends up coming out the ultimate winner, I guess, or whatever. Is there a game you want to see announced or something you'd like to hear more about that they could show off at the Game Awards?
I think a sequel to Spider-Man would be good. I mean, for like PS5 maybe.
Right.
I think they're going to show off like a Zelda trailer.
You think so?
Like the Zelda Breath of the Wild.
We haven't heard any more from Bayonetta 3 either, since they showed it off at that Game Awards a few years ago.
Or like Metroid. Metroid, sorry, thank you. Like that trilogy finally.
Like show off Prime 4 and go, oh yeah, the trilogy's coming.
Yeah.
I mean, Reggie is going to be there, even though he's not affiliated with Nintendo anymore, but he could show off something. Yeah.
They could hire him back for a night.
And they could have Doug Bowser show up too and be like, hey, here's what Nintendo has today, or whatever.
Well, it's funny because my friend, I think I mentioned him before, John Vignaci's at Nintendo now. And I really wish he would become like the point man for Nintendo. Because he'd be great at it.
Oh yeah, he would, but I feel like you can't pass up on having a guy that's actually last name is Bowser. Yeah,
they need to get like Kevin Koopa to work there or something like that instead. Because Bowser's I don't like Bowser as a bad guy name, or I like Koopa a lot more.
Yeah, I don't know. And for me, I've kind of gotten everything that. I think for me, I just like watching the show. Hopefully, it's not like 3.5 hours long. Jeff Keighley, that would be nice.
There's a bunch of awards and then a bunch of like people talking, or they'll have that stupid spend a half hour in sports nonsense, and it's like, all right, just clue me in when you're back to the actual crap.
Sorry we didn't do any of the content creator or esports awards. That is not our bag. We've made that pretty clear throughout the entire. Shout out to Stephanie Sakura. She has done a great job of becoming even more, propelling herself more in the Mortal Kombat scene, streaming and commentating and all that. Again, want to give her props, but we support her and everything. But streaming and esports and all that is not our thing. So I know maybe we're behind the times a little bit, but
don't care.
We'll never care. So yeah. But they do have their own esports judges for that, so it's not really a thing that most outlets have to deal with anyway. It's more the picking a content creator, which I think a lot of times they just pick one out of a hat and whoever wins.
It should always be Drew Scanlon from Giant Bomb.
That could work too. So yeah, that's it for the show. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, you can leave us a review on whatever podcast service you use. We are pretty much everywhere that I can think of. Thank you to all those people on iHeartRadio listen to us. But we're on Spotify. We're on Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes, Spreaker, Podbean. Thanks to Last Word Radio. Wherever else that you can think of. If you don't see us on there, let me know. We'll try. I'll try my best to get it on there. We'll be back. Hopefully you heard the post show. If you're game that you really wanted to win won, then great. If they didn't, well, hey, it is what it is. Not everybody can win. We'll be back on Saturday or Sunday. Saturday, basically sometime on Sunday. With our break free. Well, we're supposed to go see Jumanji Next Level, but I know it's going to happen. That's going to be at night, probably on Sunday or perhaps Saturday night. I don't know. Whatever she feels like doing when I get off work Saturday or Sunday, whatever. But if we're not doing anything on Sunday during the day, I might just, if you're up around 11 or 12, let's just knock it out. The plan is to do sort of a year in review for the big three, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, and kind of look ahead. Obviously, we kind of know where Microsoft and Sony are going, but it's still going to be an interesting kind of to look ahead. And then, that next week, our show will be the Top 25 show. And then after that, I hope to God there's not like some ridiculous amount of news where we have to do 2 shows or something. Hopefully we can just do the Top 25 show and that's it. And then that Sunday after will be our look ahead to 2019 and how many of these freaking games coming out in the early part to spring are we going to really want? Because there's so damn many. So, again, thank you for listening. For Mark and myself, we'll see you later.
Later.